Good afternoon. It's Tuesday today, and welcome to Saba's Way of Life. So today I wanted to share some thoughts that I've been meaning to share. Wanted to do it yesterday, just didn't get the opportunity, but now I have. The weather's not so good. It's not a good time to do anything in the garden today. Lots of lunar events happening today and tomorrow. For those of you who are biodynamic gardeners, you may verge deeper into that. I don't know enough just yet, but what I do know from a lunar perspective, it's not good to do sensitive work in the garden. And given that I've been growing with the lunar calendar now for the last 3 years, I know without any doubt that using the moon's natural rhythms and Mother Earth's natural rhythms to grow your food and vegetables has a profound difference on not just the quality of the fruit and vegetables, but the abundance and the nutrition and the nourishment within the body. You have to understand everything from a universal and whole perspective. So it does require quite a lot of study and research and time in nature, because many things you can't explain in words. They're inexplicable in words. They're knowings, and they're felt when you are present within nature itself. I can talk a lot more about that another time, but for now I wanted to talk about what I have learned from watching now probably over 100, maybe even more, over a period of the last 6, 7, 8 years of individuals who've had what they call near-death experiences. I understand now that these people don't actually die. Be careful with the words and terminology that's used in mainstream. So these are people that have had accidents or have had trauma that has happened where they have stopped breathing for a certain length of time, and then they have experienced themselves leaving their bodies and seeing themselves either on the operating table or wherever, and then a light, and then heading towards some kind of a light, which some claim is towards God or towards Jesus or whatever they feel is that greater mind behind the universe. And then they have received messages. And what I want to talk about today is not whether this is right or that's wrong. What I have done over the last 2 or 3 days, because I just felt compelled to do so while I was recovering from an awful kind of head flu, which has knocked me out for 2 days. This is how it happens with me. I'm healthy as anything, and then I get knocked out. I know now, and those people that have done enough study and research know that it's actually a frequency that attacks us whenever we get ill. It is not passed on through any germ nonsense. And you just have to do some research on that. More and more people are becoming aware, but they don't want to talk about it. So I'm digressing, as I always do. Let me get back to what I was saying to you. And what I have done is, over the last 2 days, I took the time to read. I write down everything that I learn. So from these experiences that people had, I'd written down the messages that they got from who they deemed to be as God or the mind behind the universe or Jesus, and I'd written them all down. And I went through my notebook over the last 2 days to collate what the messages were, and I wrote down the most common. In fact, every single one had almost all of these 10 messages. A little bit more than 10, but I will elaborate on them, that they had when they came back into their bodies, into the world, to tell humanity. A lot of it is common sense, but most of us don't apply our common sense anymore. And that, we don't. And it just shows you how mind manipulated, and that for the use of that same old sensationalized word, brainwashed, that we are in every way, everyone, to some degree or another. So without further ado, let me just go straight in and talk about these. I'm looking at my notebook because I will remember them all. So first of all is authentic. To be and live in your authenticity, which means Don't hold back your true feelings from inside, because it is truth. Be authentic. First, be authentic to yourself, and then share that authenticity with others, because we're not here just to sit on a table alone where I am, or sit down. We're here to be out, intermingling with other people, moving with other people, talking to other people, having experiences, teaching. We're here for a reason. And the first step is to be absolutely authentic. Authentic. Look up that word. Do some research on that word. Be authentic. It's about dissolving all false aspects of ourselves, which slave self. We've all got it. We're born with it. We don't even know. You know, I'm constantly questioning myself. I'm getting much, much better at being authentic. One of the best ways at being authentic is what I mentioned in yesterday's video, 2 days ago. I mentioned at the end of the video, which is step away from all external influences. Spend time in nature and in silence. And your authenticity will start to shine through as you dissolve your slave self false aspect. It takes time. That is the identity that you're dissolving. The identity, the ego. People don't know what ego means. I've heard this so often, there's no other word, but dumb explanations. Oh, it's all ego. Ego is the human condition. It's the attachment to the identity. That is what we're always challenging all the time. That is what ego is. Those people who are often talking about that are quite often living from ego themselves, from their identity. We are not our identity. Okay? So you're trying to be authentic to who you are. That's the first thing. These are just basics. Number 2, Earth. We are here on Earth to experience adversity. It's a school. This is a school for us. We are down here on Earth as a school. Earth is a school. That is why we are here. We are here to experience adversity so that we learn and grow. Remember that. So whenever challenges hit you, always be grateful and look at how you respond to them, or in many cases, as I did before, not anymore at all. Look at how people react. I am observing so much recently from those that I wouldn't imagine would react in a certain way. And it teaches you so much. You learn so much. Earth is a school. Number 3, love everyone. And how hard is it to do that? When you feel you have been wronged, love anyway. And I think one of the things that's being said here in this is that have the ability to forgive, have the ability to, I'm going to talk about an aspect of that later when it comes to thoughts, which is another thing, which is probably number 11 on the list, but it filters throughout all of this, is that when these people left their bodies and went off to speak to God or whoever or whatever they spoke to, the mind behind the universe, the greater light, good, they every single one of them said within them there was nothing but love in their hearts for everything and everyone, no matter who that was. Because underlying inside all of us is the essence of love. And it's that love that if we have for others and we feel for others will be felt by the universal mind through frequency, the energy, frequency and vibration, and will also swing back to us too. We are just going to be promoting more of hate if that's all we are feeling for others. Again, read in between the lines here. If all we're talking about is hate for others, that is what we are first putting around their frequency and our own, because all of us are from the same hand. Just stop and think about that for a moment, and it will completely wipe out certain aspects of things that you believe or do every day, or people you follow. It will wipe it all out when you understand this truth. Love everyone. Number 4, unbelievable, because this is something I talk about almost in every video. Use your inner voice. This is intuition. Use it. These people that left their bodies, died and came back, because they didn't die, otherwise they wouldn't come back here in this form. But they probably, because there's a cord attached to us, and that cord wasn't cut, because then they wouldn't come back. They came back, but they had an experience as such as if they were dead, but you don't know that because they weren't. That might be a different experience. But the point is, they have said unanimously to use your inner voice. What did I say to you 2 or 3 days ago in a video? And what have I said in almost every video? Trust your inner tuition more than your mechanical mind. It is not just a gut instinct. When you are living from source, your source connection, and when you understand that we are beings of electricity, you've got to understand this. Energy, frequency, and vibration. We are beings of electricity, and our source connection is that electrical wiring to the mind behind the universe. The whole. Your inner voice, when you're connected to that source, you are connected to the voice of God, of nature's principles, of the universal mind, which anybody out there who's connected to that source, who's living from that bandwidth, it's a frequency. If you're living from that bandwidth, your inner tuition will give you answers to everything and everyone. That's where telepathy happens as well. It's normal. It's not something paranormal. It's become paranormal today because we don't live from that frequency anymore. We don't even understand it. We think it's woo-woo. It is not. And we're realizing that today. More and more people each day. Use your inner voice because it guides you every step of the way, and trust it and make choices from that place. But in order to do that, you need to be of sound mind. And in order to be of sound mind, you need to be of sound health. And in order to be of sound health, you need to be living a certain way of life which is in harmony with nature, and eating pure foods, sleeping at the right times, being around the right people, spending as much time in nature and in the sun and in the fresh air, grounding on earth. These kind of things, you need to live in that way. You need to love thy neighbour. You need to do good works. It's a way of life. Then, over a period of time, your inner tuition will start guiding you. And it does with me, and it has done for many years now. Complete U-turn from the individual that I was. You've all got it. Use your inner voice. Use it. Number 5. I wrote this in a rush and I can't remember what I meant by this, but watch your relationship to technology. Oh my God, it's just all come back to me. Watch your relationship to technology. Look, I've mentioned a couple of books I've read. One by Jack Ellul. It's one of the most brilliant books I have ever read in my life. Thanks to Sam Gerrans, who's a prolific reader of the most incredible books, and he shares them with the world. And it's called The Technological Society, and the second book in the series is called Propaganda by Jack Ellul. a French sociopolitician. Fantastic book. Now, what he says is that technique is not what you think it means. You have to read the book. That we have considered progress to be technology, but it's anything but progress. There's a lot of metaphysicians, real metaphysicians, most of them are dead now, that have stated that technology, even though it appears to have been progress for humanity, the effect it's having is the opposite. We're regressing from our own intelligence systems. And eventually, technique, as Jacques Ellul says, if you don't employ technology and technique, you will be enslaved, and you'll be governed by the other forces, like the forces of America and so on. But those very forces will implode eventually, and they who are using technique to control the world, technique itself will eventually control them. You have to understand and read more on that if you're interested. But these people who'd had these experiences, the fourth most common thing was, be very careful of your relationship to technology, to tech. This is messages coming from the mind behind the universe. It's just, to me, it's extraordinary when you have read widely and you start to piece the puzzle together. Number 6, release all prejudices. See, when I saw this come up again and again and again, I just kind of said to myself, how did you get involved, Saba, in some recent areas with people which actually exhibit nothing but prejudices against almost everybody? Whether those people are right or wrong, it's just prejudice after prejudice after prejudice after prejudice. And the mind behind the universe, God says, release all those prejudices and love everybody. Because by doing that, you will actually be helping to heal the world and yourself and the people. If you do the opposite, you're promoting more of that evil. It's simple as that. It's very simple. Number 7, control your thoughts. Now, this is really important, because if you control your thoughts, you control the outcome of certain actions that you take. I actually wrote a little bit more about this afterwards. You must control the thoughts. This is what I have written. You must control the thoughts. Oh, by the way, this is what I wrote in the first 5-10 minutes of waking up. I think it was 2 days ago in the morning. This is things that just came into my mind, and I quickly came down, put the coffee on and wrote these down. You must control the thoughts that you have about other people. Thoughts have a certain energy to them. Words have even more. And then actions that ensue have even more than that. So it all starts with a thought. What you think is what you talk, and then what you actually end up doing in your actions. So basically, what I'm saying here is that every thought you have has a frequency and a vibration attached to it that reaches the person that you're thinking about. And if it's a positive thought, positivity will reach them, and your actions will ensue as well. If it's a negative thought, and we are living in an environment where we just mistrust, well, I don't. I can tell you that for sure. But people start from the premise that don't trust that person. That person's bad. That person's out to hurt us. See, I told you that they do something small, like they jump over a fence, and that means they're a thief because they've stolen something from you, because you've seen them jump over a fence. You understand what I mean? It's a metaphor there. So this is what has come back from those people who've spoken to God or the mind behind the universe. Every single thought you have has an outcome. Every thought is an input that you allow into your mind, And then the fruit of that thought is the outcome. So every thought about every individual, make that a good one. Always. Even if it's someone that you think deserves a certain thought. Most people don't. Nobody deserves evil thoughts. But even if it is, forgive. Send thoughts of love and forgiveness. If everybody did that, we wouldn't be in this illusion that we're in today. We wouldn't be in this illusion. We'd be in a different world. That is our lesson. These are the lessons we're here to learn. Control, I don't even remember writing this. Control thoughts. Energy attaches to that person and you contribute to the, I actually put jerk, to the jerk that person is. Forgiving is very important. Forgiving is important for them as well as you. Energy changes form when you forgive. Forgiveness is important. Energy attracts energy, and it's like a ripple effect that I've talked to you about before. Every act of kindness, every good thought, every nice good work you do for others ripples out into the universe and affects that person you've helped. They then do the same to others. So just realize how important each thought is that goes into your mind and how it affects others. And I'm also telling myself this while I'm speaking to you, because none of us are going to get this right, because that's what we're here to do, to learn this. It's hard. Isn't that what Jesus did? And all the real prophets? Okay. Number 8, avoid negative influences. This is so important. You know, be careful if you can about the people that you're around. I spend 80% of my time alone and I love it. It's a solitude for me. I'm not alone. I'm with nature and I'm with myself. I'm not alone. I choose my company. 0 radio, 0 television. I have a television there at the back. Haven't turned it on for God knows how long. Sometimes I turn it on to listen to some music, but I don't watch anything. I've no desire to. So the same thing with negative influences are with people that are around you. Even when you go and visit somewhere, you can feel when you've spent so much time alone and around a positive influence and around nature, you can very quickly feel a negative frequency just in the air and the vibration of the place you're at. It's very easy to feel. And if you're strong enough and you have a high positive frequency, you can also diminish that frequency by sending love, feelings of love. I mean, I don't do that kind of thing, but I can certainly feel frequency and I can feel energy even across the water from people just by looking at them. I'm sure many of you can too. Don't ignore that. Number 9, evil has a purpose. Remember that without any bad choice, there is no good choice. So how do you know you've made a good choice unless you know what a bad choice is? So evil has its purpose, and our job is to be continually being aware of what that evil is. There are many people out there who do good work, but have another side to them, which perhaps isn't so good. We have to be able to discern what is and what isn't from each individual and the people that we're around, and focus on the good, but be very aware of the dark. They all have this shadow side, and just be very aware of that. And the last one is, we are all one. You see, to hurt another person's finger, you're actually hurting your own. We're all part of the same cloth and of the same hand. Every single one of us. You've got to understand this. This is how frequency works. So if you're doing harm to another person in whatever way, you are actually harming yourself. Understand that. When you put that harm input, whatever it is, whatever it is. You stop them from achieving something, you say something bad about them, it is a reflection on who you are. Doesn't matter who you are. It's a reflection on you. So don't do it. We're all one, and start seeing the good in others. That's the key thing. Start seeing the good in others and start thinking good thoughts about others. Look at that. I've just said that. And the sun has just come through. Look at that. That's what I look at every day. That little piece of heaven in the garden. Sun's just shining at that point. Isn't it wonderful? That's what I wanted to share with you today. And I'm going to go and head out into the garden now and enjoy the rest of the day and just potter about and get some sun into my skin. Have a lovely day, and I hope there was some meaning there for you.